So again, this is Christian Toth with Coach.Motorworks. So I'm sorry for the little hiatus on videos. I had weddings to go to, but I'm back. I was able to order a bunch of parts, as we see here. So we got some goodies here. We'll get to opening those as we need them. Trying to keep some of them protected before until I get this engine actually mounted in. But so just an update here. So again, if you didn't know, if you haven't been following, I am getting married in September, at the end of September, and this is going to be the wedding car, hopefully. So right now I actually have 100 days, or less than 100 days. We celebrated our 100 days until the wedding. I guess that's a thing. So basically it means I have 3 months to get this done. And it's a little intimidating. I would like to think that I'm making progress and it's going to get easier from here. But the biggest thing is I still don't have a carburetor. I have some ideas on what I'm going to use, but haven't ordered it yet because I have some mounting plates and stuff that I need to see that are see if they fit on my manifold, intake manifold. So today's plan is I have the engine mounts that I've kind of reamed out a bit. So that's going to be number one. Then we can see how the drive shaft or the transmission kind of mounts underneath the car, and hopefully that I can get that transmission mounted or installed again. And then the parking brake levers that go along that are attached to it. So let's try to get that done and see how far we can make it. So let's get to it. All right. So as you can see, here's my mounting plate, and you can see they kind of, normally this would have gone like that, but they reamed it out just a bit. That's all I needed. Like I said, I was like 1/8 of an inch off on either side. So this should do the trick, and let's get them installed. Alright, so got one in, and looks good. Now to do the other one. Alright, so I have the other motor mount in down here, and let's try to let it down easy, see if it'll fit. Hell yes, it fits. You can see down here, engine is sitting on the mount. There you go. Alright, so that was keeping me nervous. Alright, so this is CJ. This is what I was hoping for. Alright, good. Bingo. Alright, so in order for me to put a decent carburetor on this engine, I need to have a conversion bracket. So as you can see here, this is made for a 2-barrel carburetor. So this is made by a company called TD Transdapt. Whatever. It's got a Mustang on the front, so that means it should be for my car, right? Alright, so let's see if this will fit on my carburetor. Alright, so here's my 1-barrel to 2-barrel converter. And it doesn't fit. Okay. Well, at least I found something new out. It almost looks like it's a little too small. Alright, so as you can see, we are under the car, and I'm by no means, or I like to think I'm not a big person, but it is a tight fit down here. Alright, so what I want to show you is, Alright, so you can see I have transmission jacked up. And I'm basically just trying to see, so now that I have the transmission level, I'm trying to see if this mounting point right here is in line with my mount. Now it's not in line with my frame here. If I actually put you at where this is, a little off from the other side. So, yeah, that's where my speedometer goes. All right, our speedo cable, and that is my oh shit glove when I mistakenly filled the transmission. Then tilted it to go into here and started to bounce back, so I threw a glove on it and it filled the glove up like a water balloon and popped, and oil went everywhere. It was a long day, it was pretty hot, and I think I was a little frustrated and wasn't thinking clearly. But yeah, I'll probably go ahead and take that off. Alright, so let's grab my transmission mount, or transmission bracket, whatever it's called, and see how that lines up. Good news, just found the transmission bracket or mount, cradle, whatever you want to call it. It was underneath the car here. Over there. Any closer, it could have hit me in the face. But I'm going to try to show this to you. It's hard for me to get two hands on this. Alright, so this is, I guess, a bushing bracket mount. A bunch of rubber stuff. It's like a motor mount, but for your transmission. It's actually in pretty good shape. So this would mount to my transmission right up to the plate underneath of it. And then my transmission mount would go like this. The problem is my bracket that holds my parking brake lever is hitting the side of this transmission. Alright, so this is what we got here. Got my mount, my transmission mount. I cleaned up the sides for welding. Just gonna slide this into here, weld it up. Alright, so it is a gasless flux cord, so it's not going to be the nicest weld, but I think it's already more welds than was on there initially. So if you take a look here, I think it'll work. Get some welds there, on the sides, on the back side. So I think she'll work. We'll let it cool down for a bit, sand it with a wire brush, and throw some paint on it. Alright, so as you can see, got this mounted up here. Got it tightened up. Don't mind that smoke over there. That's just some oil on the light. But alright, so I think that's gonna look pretty good, if I do say so myself. That'll hold water. Alright. Alright, so now that we know that fits, the other thing I need to do is my clutch lever would sit here, and it rides on this spindle here, and this is my clutch lever here. So as I move the pedal, it would pivot off this arm here and push my pressure plate. So let's see, we have I'm thinking one of these boxes is it. So let's open her up. This is called a clutch equalizer. Now it does look shorter. Definitely looks homemade. Well, it's Ford. It has the Ford nameplate on it, but there's some interesting welds. But let me show you the old one. My problem was my engine's a little wider, and I think it's the width of a V8, or I thought it was the width of a V8. So I went to Kentucky Mustang and had them measure a V8 version of this, and it was too long, or it was the same length as what I have. So back to the drawing board. I went to some Ford websites. This one is Auto Krafters, if you want to look. And I guess they specialize in Ford parts and other classic parts. I just Googled it, looking for a Ford Galaxy equalizer, and this is what I got. So I will be reusing this part. So the way this would work, just kind of try to match it up the same way. Yeah, so it looks like it would go this way. Problem, there's a lot of play on that side. Oh, that's a problem. So I might end up cutting this off and use this as a spacer. But the way it attaches is like this. So this side, I need to take this pin off, and that would go here. Better angle here. So this little piece right here goes to the all thread coming off my clutch lever, or clutch pedal, and then this pin go up here to my pressure plate on in my bell housing. So I'm gonna put this in, kind of do a mock-up just to see if this is going to be my right distance. I measured about, I needed about, I think it was 2 inches or so, but let me go see if this fits. Alright, so it actually looks like the one I ordered for the Maverick is too short. Shaft is too short. It's missing space between here. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to try to shorten this overall. I think I can get away with if I trim a bit on this side and a bit on this side. Now what I've heard is it's like a hardened steel. So it's probably going to be pretty tough to cut through, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. So I'm going to kind of cut like a 1/2 inch at a time. At least if I can cut a 1/2 inch, I can kind of work it in there, see how close I am, and get back with you. Alright, let's see if it fits. Just did some spot welds on here so that I can, alright, get this guy in here. This is really easy to do with one-handed here, guys. Alright. So, get the pin. Get this guy in first. bracket on here. Alright, looks like it fits. So let's weld this up. Alright, so before I was explaining how this was too long and my camera actually died, but so I had to cut this off of that end, which this lever, ow, still hot, used to be here. You can see where I had to slice the welds. And I grinded it down and I welded my new piece on here. And you see, it's pretty, I'm pretty impressed for with myself for even just a flux cord welder. Alright, big day. Finally moved the engine lift out of the way. So now I get to do kind of the fun bolt-on stuff. I'm going to start tackling here. You can see it. I need to put my thermostat and my thermostat housing on there and the gasket, and that takes a little time to dry. So I can go ahead and put that on there and put the starter back on. I kind of started running my lines here. And yeah, get it put back together. Alright, so I have my thermostat here. It's 195. That sits in here in that little channel like that. And my gasket goes on. And this goes onto the block. Just make sure my screws are long enough. Looks like they are. So usually you don't need to put any like RTV around it, but I think if I have some, I'm gonna put it in there because I do have the gasket, but wouldn't hurt. Usually you want a nice even coat of this stuff, but I think mine's a little dried out, so I'm kind of just putting some on here, more or less just to fill in any kind of cracks from the gasket. Also helps keep the gasket on, which is nice. That guy there. Let it set for a bit, and then I'll go ahead and tighten it down with a wrench. Alright, so what else can we do? Starter. Starter in. Nice and clean. Alright, so it looks like this goes here, obviously. This, I already have one here, so I'm going to put this one on the underside on the other bolts so I don't, so I can still get good depth in here. Alright, so just to recap today, we have the equalizer that I finished up just recently. You know, even through my research and trying to get a Galaxy one from a Ford, not Galaxy, I think it, whatever. I think it's from a Galaxy. Whatever. It didn't work. So I ended up having to cut the one I had, the equalizer that I had, and you know, find the right angle, trim it down, and weld it. But I have that drying. So other things, now I got the radiator in. I got the starter in. The starter's all wired up, which is great. Ready. I have my 2 outlets here for the heating system for the heater core. This is in here now. I left this bolt loose because I think that's where my bracket is going to attach to for the power steering pump. So things, and then I'll attach my fuel line next time. So things that I got to work on next week, or that I'm going to try to do next week. I got to order a alternator bracket for this side, a power steering bracket for this side, new hosing kit, pulley for this, water pump, as well as electric fan and some coolant. The 1 to 2 barrel converter that I have does not fit this bolt spacing, so I'm going to need to return the one I got, believe it's from Summit, and then tell them what my measurements are and get the correct one. Also, I need to research to see if I'm going to need any kind of like carburetor heater block, or it's like a throttle body heater, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, and then maybe start fitting the exhaust, and I don't know, it's coming together, it's getting exciting, and I appreciate you coming along with me. If you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe. But I hope you're enjoying it. I'm like 40, I don't know, 2.5 months away. So keep coming through with me, and we'll talk to you later. This is Christian Toth, Coach at Motorworks. See you later.